Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you push, how much you plan, how precise your vision, something always feels off? Why, the more you strive, the more distant peace becomes? Could it be that what you're missing is not more action, but more allowing? Not more control, but more surrender? Not more thinking, but the gentle feminine wisdom you've long silenced within? Ask yourself this question: what am I trying so hard to become? You see, since you were a child, you were taught that you had to become someone in order to be enough. You believed you had to achieve, to perform, to shape yourself into someone acceptable. So you tried. You tried so hard. But what if nothing was missing? You weren't born to chase yourself. You were born to remember yourself, to exist, not as a performance, but as a presence. Not to strive endlessly toward becoming, but to return home to what you've always been. We live in a world addicted to motion, to metrics, to milestones, to maps and mental strategies. We've been taught that worth is earned through productivity, that stillness is laziness, that softness is weakness. And somewhere along the way, we began to believe it. We began to doubt the voice of intuition, the rhythm of rest, the wisdom of our body, the value of simply receiving. Because the world taught us to favor one energy over the other, the masculine. The masculine is the energy of doing, pushing, striving. It is fire and focus. It is the sword that cuts through obstacles, the builder who lays foundations, the warrior who charges forward. It moves in straight lines, measures progress by results, and demands control. But when this energy dominates without balance, it becomes relentless pressure, a storm that never quiets. The feminine, by contrast, is water and wind, fluid, receptive, and cyclical. She is the moon's gentle pull, the soft earth beneath your feet, the breath that expands without effort. She invites flow instead of force, trust instead of control, being instead of doing. Where the masculine carves the path, the feminine nurtures the soil. Where the masculine leads with logic, the feminine listens with heart. Both are essential. Both are sacred. Yet, in forgetting the feminine, we lose touch with the deep current that guides us home. And so, in the rush to do, to fix, to conquer, the power of the feminine was quietly pushed beneath the surface, hidden beneath layers of noise and expectation. But here's the thing: the feminine was never lost. It was hidden, beneath layers of conditioning, under years of hyper-masculine striving, behind the armored walls of a heart that forgot how to trust. And what do we find in its place? Tightness in the chest, relationships that feel strained, a life that feels like performance instead of presence. We've learned to chase alignment instead of becoming it. If these words stir something in you, it means that a part of you is already remembering who you truly are beneath the noise. Then this space is for you. So subscribe to our channel to walk with me through the quiet, through the questions, through your truth that's been waiting inside you all along. Your mind feels like it's spinning out of control, endless to-do lists, constant plans, never-ending goals. You push yourself harder and harder, but inside, there's this tiredness, this restless ache. You're always moving, always trying, but it never feels enough. You're craving something real, something gentle and true. Maybe on the outside you look like you've got it all together, but inside there's a quiet hunger for peace and lightness. Overthinking has taken over. You try to manage every feeling, every outcome, because letting go feels too scary. But here's the truth: controlling everything isn't safety. It's just another kind of prison, and you weren't meant to live trapped in that prison. Now ask yourself, where in my life have I been forcing? Where have I been pushing instead of listening? What would happen if I softened? There was a woman once. Her name was Emily. She was successful by every measure. Her calendar was full, her inbox overflowing. She had built a world of structure, of deadlines, of discipline. And yet, in the quiet moments, she felt a weight she couldn't name, a tightness in her chest, a sense that no matter how much she achieved, something essential was missing. One day, she simply burned out, not in a dramatic collapse, but in a quiet, invisible way. The fire that once kept her going just wasn't here anymore. So she did something unfamiliar. She stopped, and for the first time in a very long time, she chose to be true to herself, to stop pretending. She listened to the quiet pull of her inner voice and quit her job. No backup plan, no perfect strategy, just a deep knowing that something in her life had to change, and a quiet faith in what would come next. A complete surrender, a letting go. She didn't try to explain it, she just walked away, with faith in the unknown, trusting the current instead of resisting it, allowing herself to receive instead of control, in stillness. And in that stillness, something ancient stirred. Not an answer, not a solution, but a presence, a remembering. She began to move slower, to trust what she felt, to say no without guilt, to receive without apology. And for the first time, things began to align, not through force, but through flow. She didn't rush to reinvent herself. She didn't scramble for the next big thing. Instead, she gave herself space to breathe, to rest, to feel. She spent her mornings walking barefoot in the grass, watching the sun rise with a cup of tea between her hands. She painted again, not for money, not for praise, but for the joy of colors speaking through her fingers. She began holding women's circles in her living room, just soft spaces to speak, to cry, to be. No agenda, no hustle, just presence. And without trying, opportunities came. People were drawn to her calm, to her authenticity, to her being. She wasn't chasing anymore. She was attracting without effort, living in rhythm with herself, letting life meet her in that soft, surrendered space. By surrendering to her feminine force, Emily found the version of her that had been waiting all along, the one who doesn't force but magnetizes. She stopped trying to become someone and simply allowed herself to be. And in doing so, life began to meet her with open hands. The feminine force is not passive. It is not about doing nothing, but about doing with presence, with grace, from a place of deep internal alignment. When you operate from the feminine, you move with the current instead of swimming against it. You trust, you feel, you respond rather than react. You stop trying to manifest and begin to receive what was already aligned for you. This isn't weakness. This is power in its purest, most sacred form. No matter who you are, the feminine lives in your body, in your breath, in your belly, in your stillness. She whispers through intuition, guides through feeling, moves through surrender. The feminine won't shout over the noise. She speaks in silence, in the pause, in the space you rarely give yourself. She doesn't rush. She waits, with knowing. She doesn't force outcomes. She allows them to come. You were raised to grind, to prove, to push harder. But the next chapter of your life won't come through more pressure. It will come when you finally slow down and allow things to come to you. Because the truth is, you don't have to chase what's already meant for you. You just have to be open enough to receive it. The feminine speaks through your feelings. She says, your sadness is important. Your longing is showing you the way. We're often afraid of our emotions, worried they'll overwhelm or break us. But they're not here to hurt you. They're here to set you free. Grief, anger, fear, shame. These feelings are messengers, not enemies. They come up so you can finally meet yourself, not with judgment, but with kindness and love. To awaken the feminine within means reclaiming the parts of yourself you've pushed away and bringing them back home. No more hiding, no more fixing, just feeling, just allowing. This is not a call to abandon the masculine. We need structure, direction, and focus. But when it is not balanced by flow, by softness and receptivity, we burn out. The awakened path is not masculine or feminine. It is both. Dancing in sacred union. The masculine is structure, the feminine is movement. The masculine creates the container, the feminine fills it with life. The masculine plans, the feminine feels. Both are sacred, both are needed. But for many of us, the feminine has been forgotten. And now she's asking to be remembered. When the two are in harmony, you become unstoppable, not through effort, but through embodiment. So what does it look like concretely to live from this energy? It looks like waking up and checking in with how you feel, not just what you should do, honoring rest as much as productivity, making space for silence before making decisions, trusting your gut even when logic disagrees, letting go of things that no longer resonate, even if they once made sense, creating not to prove yourself, but to express the beauty that already lives within you. This is the way of the feminine, not straight lines, but spirals. Her wisdom runs deeper than words. She feels her way through. It may not always make sense to the mind, but it always makes sense to the soul. And when you begin to live this way, something shifts. Synchronicities appear, the right people show up, opportunities unfold, peace returns, not because you made it happen, but because you stopped resisting what was already meant for you. Let this be the moment you remember. You don't have to chase what's already yours. You don't have to push to be worthy. You don't have to become someone else to be enough. You are already the space where life wants to flow. You are already magnetic. You are already aligned, not by doing more, but by being more deeply you. Let go of the war with yourself. Surrender the masks. Put down the armor. Breathe and let your soul take the lead. And watch yourself becoming alignment instead of chasing it. So now, breathe. Feel the rhythm beneath your thought, the gentle pull of your truth. You don't need to push so hard. You don't need to prove anything. You are allowed to soften, to listen, to flow. You were never broken, just disconnected from the part of you that already knows the way. The feminine has always lived inside you. You just have to let it return. Let this be your turning point, not another thing to fix, but an invitation to finally come home. And if this message stirred something in you, if you felt seen or more you, then stay close. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment below with the part that spoke to your soul, and share this with someone who's been carrying too much for too long. Together, we're creating space for something deeper to rise. Now breathe again and let it begin. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.